Okay, I'm going to do a quick video on bonding. I'm not a professional. I don't claim to be any sort of a radio tech or antenna tech or anything of the sorts. But on these trucks in general today, nothing is really completely what you see. Like that. Here, let me. Oh, that's too close. See if I can come out. No, I can't zoom. All these trucks that you see today, they're not one big hunk of metal like they used to be way back in the day. These are all component trucks now. Everything is put together piece by piece. Like this piece right here, it may be metal, but sometimes they're aluminum. Sometimes they get a little bit of steel into them, but they're bolted to a skeleton type thing on the inside. Now, they are technically connected. But let's just run to the back here. Don't mind my truck is dirty, but see that seam there? So with those rivets? Yeah, so now they're connecting those two pieces together. But in between this section here, there's probably some sort of a silicone, some sort of a bonding agent of sorts. And that may interfere with the electrical connection. Now, when I say electrical, I mean RF electrics, not say what you get out of a wall socket. What connects this to this is not as efficient as it used to be. Same thing, to give you another idea, we got two tires on a truck. Let's just assume they're two different pieces of metal. So now we want to connect them. How are we going to connect them? Well, in the case of the tires of the truck, we got the hubs. So assuming we'll call this metal and that metal, we need to connect it. So now we're going to connect it this way with the hub. So that hub that you see down here, the hubs and the wheels, we're going to call those the bond straps. So throughout the entire truck, the truck is all put together piece by piece by piece by piece. There's no really good bonding agent. There's nothing really that's true. So everything is, there's a word I'm looking for and I can't think of it. But in essence, every antenna needs to have its own ground, as people call it, but it's truly called a bond. And the problem with trucks, whether it be an old style Peterbilt or something brand new today, all the antennas are don't have the metal surface. Like here's mine. There's no real metal surface underneath it, like a flat metal surface, like a plate, for the signal just to go, psh, no, hang on, for the signal to kind of bounce off of. So what we're trying to do, when I say bonding, is we're taking big braided straps and we're connecting two pieces together. So now, I had this is an 18 Cascadia, and I never had this problem with the previous one. I had the same setup, which I'm going to show you here in a minute, but the problem was there was more metal into it than there is in this one. So I didn't realize it. I just assumed it was the same thing. So I went out, and what you see here is the door hinge. Bolt here, wide braided strap, bolt on that side. So this is, you're connecting this side of the truck with this side of the truck. Let me zoom out a little bit if I can, so you can see. So I got one on the top of the top hinge that's connecting the door side to the cab side. Got one on the bottom hinge, and I got one down there that you can't really see very well. Now I assumed, which was my biggest problem, that okay, I'll put them on, I'm good. Nope, not necessarily. The other day, it's like October 25th or 6th or something now. The other day I come out just for shits and giggles because it's getting close to winter, so I figured I'd clean up my connections and all that sort of shit. I took out my multimeter and I put one side to this bolt and one side to that bolt, and I never got nothing. So even though I thought I was bonded, I wasn't. Turns out that either the bolt or the built-on washer that's on that bolt is aluminum. So I took a magnet. Magnet wouldn't stick to either one, although there is some sort of rust mark, so there's got to be some sort of a steel into it or something anyway. Or maybe just the hinge itself is steel, but nonetheless, I got nothing from here to here, even with this bond strap. So what I went out and did, I haven't done this job yet. I just got the stuff for it, so I'm gonna try just a stainless steel washer underneath the factory washer of this bolt. Same thing on that side. After I clean up the connections, put just a touch of that, what's that stuff called? I got some here in the truck somewhere, but it's messy and I'm not gonna show you my inside. But anyway, it's basically a gel or a cream like you put on. It's kind of like an anti-seize, but it's meant for electrical current. I forget what it's called right off the top of my head. But anyway, put just a little slather on it, just enough to say there's a paper thin coating of it on either side so that you don't get any rust. And reattach them again with stainless steel on a stainless steel washer under the factory washer, which in this particular year, which is an 18, these washers here. See that washer right there? That's the one that's factory. It does not come off the bolt, and it's an aluminum. This bolt, they're aluminum. There must be some steel in it somewhere, because I got a little bit of rust spot on there. Could be just corrosion sitting, but I don't know. But anyway, I couldn't get a connection from there to the other side to here. I couldn't get nothing on my multimeter would show. It would just show up as if I turned on my screen, never did nothing, never touched anything. But I could touch other pieces of metal, everything's fine. So I know I just don't have a connection here. So the point is that we're trying to connect one piece of metal to another piece of metal. That's the purpose of bonding. Bonding and grounding is not the same. Now, here's my antenna setup. It's not, let me come at it from this way. What I have is a 102-inch whip, because I was having issues, and it could be because of my bonding. So I kept on trying different things. But anyway, what I went out and did, so I got a bracket like this. You can get them at the Loves and all that sort of stuff. For the latest body style, which is the P4 style, which I think this is called, there is a slightly different one. Actually, let me go around to my other side. Kind of getting off track here a little bit. Just hang on a second. On the previous version of this Cascadia that I have now, which is an 18, I had a, sorry about the noisy Volkswagen. I had an Evolution. And this was basically the bracket that everybody was starting to sell, this type of bracket here. And the one that I had was aluminum, didn't like it. So I went out and I bought one from the guy in PA, I forget his name, I think it was Bob's. Bought that one. Now, from the Evolution style to this one, this here does not fit. The bolt pattern is a little bit different. Let me see. You can see it's a little bit different, right? But there is a version, an aluminum version of this available, where I only saw one picture of it so far, and it doesn't show where. But anyway, getting back to my antenna. That bracket there, basically you can buy at just about any truck stop now for these Cascadias. They're aluminum. So what I went and did is I had a metal one made out of stainless steel. Little bit thicker to take the strength of this antenna. This antenna stud is a Breedlove stud. My coax, LMR 240 with Amphenol ends. Now, what you see there, this piece right here, is a 10-inch riser. And all I did with a 102-inch whip is I cut off the threaded end, which was a mistake, and then I just inserted it in the top of the mast, or yeah, it's basically a mast. Kind of like what you'd see on a Wilson 2000 style or the Predator 10K style, where you can take the whip and in and out. So that's basically what my thought process was. And because now I technically shortened the antenna physically a little bit, it made my frequency range go a little bit higher than I wanted it. So now I can't tune as well as I like further down on 1, but I'm best at 40. So, and my antenna is extended as much as I can, even with the 10-inch riser. Now, that plastic that you see, that's just 3/4 inch inside water pipe. And I kept that so that the antenna doesn't do so much of this. And that's about 3 feet there approximately. And so then I got the rest of the whip further up. You can't see it with the wires. Let me see. There you go. So now you can see it. So now, if I didn't have that plastic piece on, that whip, if I had a crosswind, would come way over, and I bet you it would touch the truck on the other side. So without not wanting to, you know, hit somebody else's truck with it, that's basically my setup. And that's basically what bonding is. You're taking multiple pieces of metal that have some sort of, somewhat of a connection that you need to make a better connection because of all the bonding that's in between the two pieces of metal and the difference of materials and stuff that are used. What you're trying to do is you're trying to connect them all together. So think of bonding as your hand. All these fingers are different pieces of metal. So what you're doing now is you're going to bond them with the palm of your hand. So that's essentially, again, what we're doing. So another thing I learned, there's a gentleman by the name of BBI. He has a couple of nice videos out there on bonding and stuff, and bond straps. So you might have to go look that up. I think he's called bonding or ground. I forget what it is. But anyway, he basically goes through his entire van or his SUV with how he makes the straps, where he attaches them, and all that sort of stuff. But what we want to do is basically connect the side with the floor, and the floor and the side with the back beside the floor to the other side, and then connect the firewall. So we want like a few straps throughout the truck, because apparently, I don't know this for sure, I'm just going by what BBI said, and he's well known in the industry, that RF needs to start from here, hypothetically, go all the way around, and come back again to the same point of where it started from. It's got to make that complete cycle. So think of it as a racetrack, I guess. So in order for a good bond process to work, do what I showed you on the door. I don't know how I'm going to get from my firewall to my chassis yet, but I've got what you saw that I had on the door. I've got on the bottom part of my door, that one goes right to the firewall. And what I intend to do, because I got the strapping and stuff, I bought a roll from I forget who it was now, on the shock mount. You pick the spot where you want to do it from your shock mount, but I would probably do both sides, like I would do on one on this shock and then one on the other shock. Whether you connect it from here and down to the bottom of the shock, or the top of the shock to the bottom of the shock, or here to the bottom of the shock, but you're trying to connect everything to the chassis, because the chassis is the most metal mass in the truck, really. So, but anyway, hopefully this is going to clear some up for some people. I still got some work to do to make this better than what it was. Mind you, now I have picked up through Skip, because the conditions were good. I have picked up from Europe, and I'm here in Nova Scotia. But then there's times I can't reach a guy, 5 miles away, just because whether it's his setup or mine, I'm not sure, but I got to do more bonding, because when I thought I was bonded, I wasn't, because of the aluminum bolts, the aluminum washers don't connect well. So anyway, guys, look up K0, is either K0BG.com or KOBG.com, and look up bonding for there. And then you can go to look up a gentleman on YouTube, BBI, and look up bond straps or bonding, or just put in keywords to see what comes up. But you'll know you'll get it, because he's sitting there at his desk with a whole bunch of bond straps. And then there's another version, part 2 I think it is, where you see his black SUV, and he shows how to actually attach them so that you get a good electrical, and I mean RF electrical type of thing, not like current like you would in your house. he shows how he's connecting everything so that, and making it secure and making it watertight. So that would be your best bet. Anyway, guys, have a great one.